On MLK Day, the FBI posted Happy MLK Day. And it was one of my professors actually in school that had uncovered that the FBI tried to like kill MLK multiple times. So I made a video about that irony and that went super viral, like 1 million views. I made a post about Juneteenth. That went very viral. Big moment for me on social media was like shortly after we kicked off of campus for COVID was George Floyd's killing. And as the first Black student body president, I wrote like an op-ed in our school newspaper. That went viral.
Today, I'm in community with Kahlil Greene, the Gen Z historian. Kahlil is a creator, writer, and speaker, helping a new generation understand the present by grounding it in the past. He's a Peabody Award winner, Emmy nominee, Forbes 30 Under 30, and one of Time's 100 most influential people on the internet. He also made history as Yale's first Black student body president. Kahlil talks about becoming a creator, how he protects his mental and physical health, and what's next.
I literally went to like LA parties with influencers and celebrities and like met really big name A-listers. What am I going to talk to like Leonardo DiCaprio about?
Figuring out what you're going to say to Leonardo DiCaprio is not a problem that most people have.
I want to have a stable job doing what I do, which is traditionally unstable, but I think I can add some stability to it by making smart decisions.
Tell me a bit about how you ended up becoming a creator.
Yeah, I'll give like 4 big points. So
this episode is sponsored by Now This. Before we get into the episode, I'd really appreciate if you take a second to hit subscribe now. Every subscriber matters and helps the show have an opportunity to grow and reach more people. Plus, you'll be the first to hear about what else is coming your way. Thanks for being here. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. This is In Community with Fahad Khawaja. Kahlil Greene, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here today. I want to get us started right at the beginning. Tell me a bit about one of your earliest memories.
Like one of my earliest memories is a trip we went to visit New Orleans, like my immediate family. I feel like I remember going to the zoo there and seeing a Komodo dragon. I feel like that's one of the earliest memories. I was probably 4. It was before Katrina, so I was like 3 or 4. It was so foreign, and it was like an experience that was hyped up. I just remember hearing about like the Louisiana, New Orleans Zoo and the Komodo dragon and just like thinking that it was going to be a real dragon. And it was cool, don't get me wrong, but I just remember it not being a real dragon.
Where'd you actually grow up?
Yeah, so I'm from Montgomery County, Maryland, which is outside of DC, about 30 minutes outside of DC. And it's fun fact, like the town that I'm from is called Germantown, Maryland, and it's been ranked the most diverse place in America a few times. So super, super diverse. I would say the neighborhood that I grew up in was majority like Black and Latino, specifically a lot of like Latinos from El Salvador. And my parents are both from New York City. So my mom is from Brooklyn and my dad's from New York. So I was like, I had an older brother, 7 years older. And we were like the first generation, I guess, to be brought up in the suburbs. But I mean, it was nice. I had a good community. It was like a very, I guess, sheltered life. Like white picket fences and like baseball and soccer and all those like really suburban things, like super, super stereotypical suburbs. Now community, I mean, it looks very different. Like I live in Boston and I travel so much and like most of my friends are through social media.
So you did eventually leave the neighborhood that you grew up in and you went to college, right? You went to Yale for your undergrad and eventually ended up becoming a creator while you were there. And you were also Yale's first ever Black student body president. So tell me a bit about, that journey at Yale and how you ended up becoming a creator.
It was, I mean, I always use social media as student body president just from being a face on campus and me to get information out to people and like running these sort of campaigns. When I was elected as the first Black student body president, there was also like a bump of like virality with that, like not long lasting, but that got me a few followers and a few pages. And I'd say the big moment for me on social media was like shortly after we kicked off of campus for COVID was George Floyd's killing. And as the first Black student body president, I wrote like an op-ed in our school newspaper and then clipped parts of the op-ed and put it on my social media. And like that went viral. And then shortly after that, I realized that people like wanted more information about like Black history and I was majoring in it. So I made a post about Juneteenth. It was before Instagram really had videos. So it was like a slideshow post where you slide through. almost like a PowerPoint. That went very viral. Like even to this day, it's one of my most viral posts. There were some celebrities that were resharing it, and then I made another one that was about how people should stop using euphemisms to describe anti-Black police violence. So the title of the post was "Why You Should Stop Saying Everything Going On, What's Happening in the Country, and Other Euphemisms for Anti-Black Police Violence and George Floyd's Murder." And that went super viral. And then from there, like there was a lull for a while, and I like my tenure ended, and it wasn't until the Trump administration sued Yale for its affirmative action policies that happened in September of 2020. I wrote another op-ed, but that one was in the Washington Post, and I put that on my social media. That went a little bit viral, and I wouldn't say it was until like even months after that that I made my first TikTok, and that was completely on a whim. I decided to take the semester off of school because it was like a lot to go through the COVID semester, and on MLK Day, the FBI posted "Happy MLK Day," and it was one of my professors actually in school that had uncovered that the FBI tried to like kill MLK multiple times. So I made a video about that irony, and that went super viral, like 1 million views in the first like hours. And I realized people like after all of that evidence going back to the previous summer with George Floyd, that people wanted to hear these sorts of stories and like perspectives. So I just started making more and more TikToks, was chasing that like high virality. And in the course of a few months, I got to like 400K followers on TikTok alone, and that's like where that begins.
How did you figure out what to talk about? How did you know what people would actually care about?
Well, I was a history major, so I still had like I had a backlog of stories that like people probably were interested in. There's also stuff like passed down through generations, stuff I saw on TV. I had TikTok at the time, so I was seeing what other people were posting and reacting to that. So I wouldn't say that like the stories themselves were ever there was never a drought of them. There was actually so many. It was more like choosing which ones I thought would be the most interesting and go the most viral. But there was never a shortage. There's so many. I mean, even to this day, like there's always something new to discover. But I'd say being a history major and using social media myself, I like was always inundated with like stories that I could tell.
At what point did you decide to brand yourself to actually start using the name the Gen Z historian?
Probably within the first month, when I realized that there was like virality to it, I wanted to have like an easier name. And I even thought maybe like there was a world where like brands or companies would want to like sponsor me for work. I didn't exactly have an understanding of how that would work, but I knew that having Gen Z in there was like a big topic and like a big buzzword. And then historian is just like an obvious like reason why I would put that there. So within the first month.
So you were a creator at this point. You had gained a pretty big following already really quickly. Tell me a little more about what came next. Tell me a bit about the process of sort of going from being a student to now officially being a creator and what that's looked like for you now.
Yeah, I'll give like four big points. So I started TikTok when I was a senior, so I still had a semester to go. So I was still making videos, but in that summer in between like the two semesters that I had started and then I continued about to graduate, I got featured in the New York Times. That was a big boost. From there, I got reached out by an agent from Hollywood, from WME, which is an old Hollywood agency, and that person had like set me up with a team, and then that team had streamlined a lot of negotiations for me. And early on, I got like a book deal, and a year after that, I got a show on Nickelodeon. So it was like a lot of stuff like coming my way. At the same time, I was posting a lot, getting more virality, being invited to events at the White House, like all the like sort of big influencer things that you kind of see influencers doing now. And recently, I got like a deal with National Geographic and produced a docuseries with them. Traveled the world doing conferences. And right now, my big thing, honestly, is my newsletter, actually. So I'm working on a newsletter on Substack, which has been ranked the #1 rising history newsletter. But I'd say that's my baby because even through all of this, like TikTok, Instagram stuff, like you never own your audience. You're always getting the algorithms can like suppress you. You get banned, they're shadow banned. People can attack you because they're trolls online. But like owning your audience through like something like a newsletter where you have the emails of the people and they're directly paying you for all of your content is like the golden sort of the golden thing for a creator. So that's the thing I'm building up right now is like an independent newsletter because especially with all the Trump stuff happening, like all of that buzz that I had like in the early 2020s really went down. Companies are completely doing a 180. So like it's all about how I can directly connect to my audience.
Once you were in this new world and going down this path of really being a creator and having a big impact at a wider level, did you at any point consider going back into that more traditional route?
Early on, like before I had TikTok, I did want to do the traditional path, or I did feel that the traditional path would be the most stable. I was going to do consulting actually for a while, so I got a consulting offer very early on in my Yale career because, like, with the student body, like all of the things I did, it lent itself towards being desirable for a consulting firm. I interned for a summer. I actually did not like my internship at all, but I was still gonna just like grin and bear it, and like it was a good, stable, lucrative job that like every student coveted. And it was only when I went like viral for the first time, I got my agent, that I realized I didn't have to do the consulting job. So it was like a big like running away. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. And I had faith. I don't know. I saw other people making money from it and doing well. And I was like, if they can do it, then I can do it. I think that's the mindset that I had. I never doubted it once I started, even when I didn't like have so much money.
Where are you finding yourself putting the bulk of your energy today? You mentioned the newsletter, you mentioned the National Geographic show. What's going on there? What's the latest with that? This episode is sponsored by Now This. Make your brand part of Gen Z culture with Now This, a Gen Z driven, social first entertainment brand reaching 92 million followers and generating hundreds of millions of monthly views. They build franchises with staying power, shows made to be paused on, talked about, and shared. With a predominantly women 18 to 34 audience, they create culture-forward content that blends humor, honesty, and real-life relevance.
Yeah, season one is done. So we'll see what happens next. But I would say like the big thing really is my newsletter and like my own content because I just want to invest in myself. Like it's nice to have these big brands and like accolades and awards and numbers, but like at the end of the day, like you have to have a core business model. And the traditional one on social media that I've worked with over the past few years is just not sustainable. It's very volatile. So I am once again like I wake up, I write a newsletter, trying to do it every day. When I can, I turn it into a TikTok to then like create and generate publicity and eyes for the newsletter. And I'm working on a few stuff locally. So I want to become like a local tour guide in Boston and maybe join a historical society just to like up the prestige. Cause is a certain prestige to like be Forbes under 30, which is like, oh, clout, whatever. And there's a certain prestige to like have these like old historical institutions backing you. So I'm gonna like lean more into that to get like a little bit more like street cred, I guess, like in the academic world. Um, and I travel still a bit for conferences, but not nearly as much as I was doing last year. I want to like ease that out and just like wake up. I want to have a stable job doing what I do, um, which is traditionally unstable, but I think I can add some stability to it by making smart decisions.
You know, what's interesting, being Gen Z, I think a lot of people would expect you to just be into some of these newer models, the newsletter and, you know, being kind of an influencer and a creator online across social media. They might not expect you to be getting plugged into some of those more, let's say, traditional systems like those historical societies. What is it about the historical societies and some of those more traditional institutions that actually attracts you?
Well, one, I recently moved to Boston and I really like it. So like I don't like traveling and leaving. I like just being at home and going on my walks and sometimes getting coffee, going to the library. Like it's a very cute city. I just don't want to leave. So that's probably part one. Part two is all the Trump stuff. So like just knowing that like companies are pulling back and all of that. Like there's no point in chasing right now because it's just not efficient. It's not a good use of time. I think the pendulum will swing back, and like that point, maybe I'll like go back to just doing these huge deals. But right now, it's just not worth it. And then outside of that, I mean, like, yeah, I think those are the two big things. I guess I'm just tired. Like, I don't want to do all that stuff. Like, it's not fun and flashy. Like going to like LA part. Like, I literally went to like LA parties with influencers and celebrities and like met really big name A-listers. And it was like cute at first, but like the novelty wears off fast. And it's just like, what am I going to talk to like Leonardo DiCaprio about? Like other than I'm a big fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, figuring out what you're going to say to Leonardo DiCaprio is not a problem that most people have.
Yeah, I'm very grateful that I have that problem, but like it's like everything. Like once you get to a certain level, like it just stagnates. Like you don't really see it as wow after like the first year, you know?
So now that you're in Boston, when you're not working, what do you spend your time doing? Where does your energy go there?
I watch movies. I'm literally a homebody. And I love it so much. Because I used to live in New York and it's like everyone's texting you like go to this party, like go to this event. And I had fun. I did improv comedy at the Brooklyn Comedy Club, which was like so fun. But beyond that, like New York was just so tiring. Like everyone's always trying to like do something. And I always had to leave my house. I could never just like be in peace and quiet without feeling FOMO or like peer pressure. But here, like there's like everyone's either in grad school, so they're in Cambridge, which is like too far for me to even go. Um, or like nobody really lives in Boston anyways, or they're working normal jobs. So I like go on my walks, I go to my gym, I like sit in the tate every once in a while, or I like be in the public library, but like I'm alone. And if not, I'm not there, and I'm just at home. And I'm so fine. Like watching so many movies, I have so many books, I have my little studio, I'm like writing my newsletters. Today I'm going to like a book reading because one of my professors is in town. I might meet someone there, but like I'm really like I'm really solo here.
It sounds like you're living the life of an old soul, for sure.
Oh, for sure. And like every once in a while, like mind you, don't get like I'll go to New York. Last year, my birthday party in New York, and it was like a themed scandal in suburbia, like White Lotus, and I was like all dressed up, and we got like super drunk, and like it was full of people in the club. But I only need that like once or twice every quarter. You know what I mean?
How do you actually make sure that you're staying healthy? And how do you go about taking care of your well-being?
I go to the markets. I mean, they don't have the farmer market just yet, but I'll start going to those. But I mean, like a like grocery store. I buy natural ingredients. I follow some fitness influencers. I cook almost all my meals. I dedicate time to go to the gym. I'm in bed early. I'm not clubbing every night, or like I don't feel the peer pressure to do it. I sleep. I go on my walks. Like I'm healthy because I'm insular. And I feel like people need to, I feel like it's underestimated. Like I think a lot of unhealthy behaviors come from socializing. And I think they're not necessarily like together, right? You can socialize in very healthy ways, but especially in my age group, like socializing often means doing something unhealthy, whether it's like drinking a lot or staying up late or like eating out, which like hurts not only your financial health, but also like your physical health, depending on where you go. And I find that like, yeah, when you can divest from that, you can invest in your own health. And I feel like that's something that works for me, at least.
Are you a good cook?
I'm getting better. I think I'm good. I can cook a good swordfish steak, and like I could cook a good protein. Oh, actually, you know, I am, because I made these really good like Doritos, chicken thigh, chicken sandwich things. So like you bread, so chicken thigh without skin is like fine. Macros are okay. Then you like get some Doritos, you crush them up in a bag, you get the chicken thigh, you put it in flour, you egg wash it, then you put it in the Doritos. So you're breading the chicken thigh with Doritos. And then you put it in the air fryer so it's not oil fried. And then like you have the bun, toast the bun, put a little bit of chipotle mayo aioli, then you put it on, you have some pickles or relish, and it's so good. Like I made my own version of the chicken like sandwich from Popeyes. You should try it. I promise you, it's like green eggs and ham. If it doesn't sound good already, because to me it sounded good the first time I heard it, but if it doesn't sound good to you, it's like green eggs and ham, and it's like really really good.
All right, next time I'm in Boston, I think I'm gonna have to get an invite to come over and try that.
Absolutely,
You're gonna have to invite me over.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Trust me.
All right, it's time for the lightning round, and this time around, it's gonna be just some word association, free association, basically. So I'm gonna say a word. And what I'd love for you to do is just say the first couple of words that come to mind right away. Free association.
Okay.
Community.
Home, neighborhood, and friends.
Failure.
Avoid. It happens, and it's okay, I guess.
Success.
Achievement, stability, and fame.
Health.
Working out, walking, eating healthy.
You mentioned you follow some fitness influencers. Anyone you recommend?
My friend, I don't know, he's like intense, but his name is Mitchell Sarin. He was an Olympian on the fencing team, and I met him at the Harvard Yale football game. So I gotta support him. He does a lot of like food stuff, so like healthy food, but like really healthy food, like no seed oils, no processed stuff. Like he'll get you right, like for your gut health. And he also does like good macro stuff, so like high protein, all of that. And he'll give you recommendations for like snacks that you can eat on a plane, for example, that are like actually healthy.
What book, podcast, or otherwise that you've enjoyed recently would you recommend that folks listening check out?
Well, of course, my newsletter, History Can't Hide, on Substack. But beyond that, I'm reading a book called American Nations, a story of the 11 rival regional cultures of America. It's a good American history book if you want to like learn generally about the divisions that exist in this country and like what you can trace them back to in terms of events in American history that created like these different cultures within the same country.
For people listening, what's the best way for them to follow your work and stay connected?
Yeah, so double plug for the newsletter, History Can't Hide. If you Google that, you'll find it. If you go to historycan'thide.com, it'll come up as well. Beyond that, I mean, I have Instagram and TikTok, like follow me on those, but nowadays those are less important to me, to be honest. And if you want to contact me in all my social media accounts, I have the Comey link, which is like sort of a link tree, and you can follow me there and see all my projects.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for making the time and for having the conversation today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.